All right. So it looks like we should. I'm just going to double check with my team here at World Headquarters that we are live here on the Traveling Vineyard Facebook page. My name is Kate Franklin. This is my good friend, Morgan Williams, and we are really excited that you guys could join us today for Wine Guide Stories Live. Now, what we like to do here at Traveling Vineyard is feature one of our wine guides so that you can get to know somebody a little bit better, because we could tell you about all the great things about Traveling Vineyard, but really what's better is to hear it from someone who is out there in the field doing it. So allow me to introduce you to Morgan. Morgan is you're a team leader. Is that, I'm right? You're a team leader, very close to director. I feel like you're like chomping at the bit. And Morgan is from Williamsport, Pennsylvania. And Morgan, you joined in 2016?
Yep, December of 2016.
Yeah, you were right after we opened in Pennsylvania. You saw the potential. How did you hear about Traveling Vineyard to start with?
Well, funny story. My aunt, I had gone up to see her around Thanksgiving, and that's in the Finger Lakes area. And she said, Morgan, I'm having this party next month and I want you to come. And she just explained a little bit about it to me. And I was like, yeah, okay. It was the busyness of the holiday season and being a second grade teacher, things are always chaotic in December. I was working on a degree at the time, so it just felt very chaotic. And so I said, I really can't come. But as I was driving home, I just couldn't get it out of my mind. Like, I go to all these people's parties all the time, and I go to hang out with my girlfriends and to drink wine, and then I buy whatever the product is.
Right.
And I thought, if it's wine, then that's perfect, because that's part of the fun of these home parties to begin with.
Yeah, I think that's something that our wine guides see all the time, is that they go to a home party and there's usually wine there because everyone's sharing and enjoying the time together. But the good thing about a Traveling Vineyard party is that wine is the star, and we get to have wine as something that not only are you there to enjoy it and enjoy time with your friends, that's the product that people are buying. So tell me a little bit about how you got started and how your business ramped up and your early stages. I want to hear the origin story, right? The origin story of Morgan Williams.
Okay. So I literally was laying on the couch one day, which I never do because I'm always busy. And I had just had like a minor procedure done. So I was off of work for a couple days, and I just kept thinking about, I'd missed my aunt's party and everything. And I just couldn't stop thinking about this business. And I was like, how have I not heard of this yet? And so I went back into my Facebook feed and like posted in her event and said, I want to hear more about this business opportunity. And then I remember like checking my phone in the middle of the night and seeing that I had a message from the consultant who had done my aunt's party, but then I couldn't find it the next day. I'm like, I swear that woman messaged me.
Oh.
And so, but I was kind of sleepy, and so I went digging for it and found it in my other folder.
Right.
And that's how I got connected with Rebecca Stevenson, who is my upline and now one of my dearest friends. But as it turns out, because we're from the same hometown, we have a strong family and mutual friends link as well that we didn't know about for a long time, which is
awesome.
Which is cool too. Yeah.
And so you got signed up. She just she shared the business opportunity with you, told you how much it costs to get started, and sort of gave you the lay of the land. And how did you launch right away, or did you wait a while, or?
Yeah, so I didn't launch right away because I signed up mid-December and it was, the holiday season, but it gave me an opportunity, having time off of work, to do my training and kind of get bookings in place for the new year. Yeah. So I guess it was maybe 3 weeks after I signed that I then launched. And I just got right in with doing in-home tastings for other people as opposed to hosting my own launch. Because we were brand new in Pennsylvania, everyone was like thrilled and excited to be one of the first hosts. And so I waited a little while to do my own mystery host launch. I waited till I had a slower month. But yeah, it just kind of, it was just like a leap of faith. I thought at the time there was only the one kit, and I thought, ooh, my computer. I've spent money like this on far sillier things in my life. And like, if this flops, at least at the end of the day, I have 10 bottles of wine to show for it.
Yeah. That's one of the greatest things about the Success Kit, is that it comes with 10 bottles of wine. And even if it maybe doesn't end up being the right fit for you, or you do one event, or, you try it out and you just don't love it, at least at the end of the day, you got some fun product. You got to try a wine tasting, which I think is always the fun part. And it's really, really fun. And right now we actually have some really cool August join specials just for anyone who's like, oh, what are the August join specials? I'll drop those right now just so you're aware. With all 3 of our kits, everyone from a virtual wine guide to our essentials kit, all the way up to our full success kit, there are some extra goodies, everything from bottles of wine to this really awesome stainless steel wine glass that everyone covets. And we like literally can't keep them in stock because everybody wants them. But we have some special ones that are tucked away for people who join us in August. And it's been really fun. I keep every morning, like I personally, because I work at World Headquarters, have a dashboard that shows me how many people join every single month. And the last couple of days have been really fun because every time I go in, it's like a new and bigger number and a new and bigger number. And it like is changing by a bigger amount than I thought it was going to this month. And that's really exciting for me because you're a team builder. You've added people to your team. You are, mentoring and coaching and doing all of that kind of stuff. What made you decide that you wanted to add somebody to your team rather than just maintaining your own personal business, which was really successful right off the bat, right?
Yeah, it was. I had consistent tastings and got bookings from those tastings. I guess about a month after I had joined, I wanted to give it some time. I decided to, kind of put a Facebook post out there that's like, I know some of you have been curious about what I'm doing with this new business. Now that I've been in it for a month, I have real numbers for you. If you're interested, like shoot me a message. And I had a couple people private message me, and one of them signed up the next day. So that was kind of where it started. I knew right away that I wanted to team build. I just wasn't sure how quickly or slowly it would go. So I think I was pretty pleased that after, a month or so in business, I had somebody join my team.
Yeah.
And just kind of went with it from there. Because you just never know what people are looking for, So I think, and I still have to catch myself. Sometimes it's like not prejudging that people will or won't want to join the business.
Right.
Because we all have our different reasons for what we need. So just kind of keeping it open to anybody.
Well, I imagine that someone that might have offered the opportunity to you would have said, she is way too busy to do this. There's probably not room in her life for this because you're a single mom, you are a full-time teacher, you have a lot on your plate. So what was it about Traveling Vineyard that made you think I really want to put something else into my already busy schedule? And why was this the right fit?
Yeah, and that's such a good question because at the time I was also working on a degree. And so I actually didn't want to tell certain people that I took something else on because they were going to give me the side eye.
Yeah.
Because I was already plate overflowing. So
and not in a good Thanksgiving pile way, like in the stuff falling and the dogs following you, kind of plate overflowing way, right?
Yeah, absolutely. And so what ended up happening, it was just this gut feeling, I was talking to somebody yesterday, actually, who I'm considering hiring as a coach. And she was like, I want you to sleep on it. She's like, and if you wake up thinking about it the next day, you know that it's probably what you're supposed to do. And that's what kept happening once I learned about Traveling Vineyard. I just couldn't push it out of my head in terms of just a gut feeling of the potential that it had to offer.
Yeah.
And so here I am 3.5 years later, really glad that I followed my gut. And I'll be completely honest, when I was working on my doctorate and I did this, and there came this crossroads of needing to make a decision. And my doctorate stressed me out and made me unhappy, and Traveling Vineyard didn't. So I was like, all right, well, if something has to go off the plate, it can't be my full-time job. It obviously is not going to be my child.
Right.
So I picked Traveling Vineyard and kind of abandoned the degree. And it's been several years and I haven't regretted it.
Good.
Because this brings me way more joy than.
Yeah, and I will say that a lot of times I think about what Traveling Vineyard provides for people is some of the stuff that you would get from a doctorate, some of that personal development. Not that it's akin to a high level education, right? That's not it's all fruit, but it's definitely apples and oranges. But I think that some of the things that people feel when they do that, being able to have opportunities to learn about something that you're passionate about, having the opportunity to do personal development, all that kind of stuff is something that I think Traveling Vineyard has been able to offer. Have you found that with your experience here?
Yeah, absolutely. Traveling Vineyard brought into my life so many things I didn't even realize that I lacked or needed. I had a ton of friends. As an only child, I didn't have siblings. So I've always had a lot of friends.
Yeah.
So I didn't get into this thinking that I needed friends, and I've certainly found some of the best friends that I have. And it's given me, sometimes as a teacher, I don't always get this. I don't always see the fruits of my labor in terms of feeling fulfilled, right? Because it can be stressful, and you're always sort of contending with politics and administration and curriculum demands and testing. And so there's often not a lot of recognition for a job well done. And I didn't realize that I needed recognition. And I probably don't need it, but I enjoy it. And I really love that part about the company,
Yeah. I don't need it, but it's really nice to have.
Yeah. Yeah. And when you go like years without it, you just get used to it. And then I'm like, well, this is fun.
Yeah. It's like the second glass of wine. You don't need it, but it's really nice to have, right?
Absolutely.
So tell me a little bit about your background as a teacher. And I've always found that teachers make amazing wine guides. And we're getting back toward a new school year in whatever way your local schools are trying to figure that out in the current climate. I am not here to talk about whatever anyone's local school districts are doing, but I do. You have a background as a teacher, and you've got to tell me what makes teachers such good wine guides, because I really think that some of our if I look back and I look at our top tier leadership and I look at people who've been really successful, there are so many teachers that are at the top here. So what is it? What's the special teacher sauce?
Yeah, well, and it's funny because when I joined, I remember one of my upline reaching out and she said, "Oh, the teachers are always successful in this business." And I was like, "Yeah, right." She's just telling me that because I'm a teacher. Okay. And here we are. And I'm seeing that too, with people throughout the company. I think as stressful as teaching itself can be, and then now there's this added layer of stress. One of the beautiful things about doing wine tastings and building a team is that I still get to teach. I'm used to being in front of people, so that's not necessarily intimidating, although sometimes it is different, to be around adults as opposed to 7 and 8 year olds. Yep. But I just kind of made the decision that this was going to be my stress-free gig. So I go into a tasting and as long as people are having a good time, I just kind of like roll with whatever energy they're bringing to the tasting. But I think, teachers by nature, like we talk, we're pretty organized. I hope I'm not speaking out against anyone else, but I'm used to being in front of a crowd. I'm used to teaching people about things and thoroughly explaining things, especially at the elementary level. Yeah. So in the beginning, when I didn't know something about wine, I wanted to make sure I was prepared, and I just found the answer using all the resources that the company has to offer. Yeah. And the team pages and support that we have within our own teams. Yeah.
I really think that teachers have this uncanny knack of being able to, you guys are used to commanding a room as well. And I think that it's one of those things that I find that teachers, even if they're teaching during the day, when they sort of get to shut off their like kid brain, right? Sort of some of the things that you have to, sort of some of the ways you have to carry yourself when you're in a room full of children. And then you can let loose a little bit differently because you're in a room full of adults and your peers, but you still can when you have a rowdy group at a tasting, it's really easy to pull on some of those things that like if you can get a class of 20 kindergartners to pay attention to you, you can probably get a room of 8 adults to pay attention to you, right?
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, and I think too, as a teacher of young children and a single mom, it was really an outlet for adult socialization time that I didn't realize I needed. Yeah.
And how is that? I mean, is that something that you found? We always say that Traveling Vineyard has 5 F's, right? They're fun, friendships, flexibility, fulfillment, and financial reward. And one of the things that I think that really comes from these tastings and from being a wine guide, the fun and the fulfillment fun. Yeah, those 2 things especially are so much of it. Yeah, and I see Jenny Kuzbeck commenting right here. And Jenny, I was actually thinking about you. She was like, past teacher right here. And I was like, yeah, that's another one. That's another person who has really risen through the ranks and is really organized and understands the business and can command a room. So it's really, really cool to watch. Yeah. So when I want to talk about some of the fun stuff that you were able to do because you've been a traveling vineyard flying guide. So these are the rewards that maybe you didn't like expect to have. So you've talked about your friendships, you've talked about some like the adult time that you didn't think you needed. How's it been for you and your family? Has this been something that's really you found like it's another level of impact? And I know that's sort of a loaded like softball question because I know that you have some things that like it's been really good for you and your family overall, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first and foremost, my daughter gets to see her mom doing the thing, right? Like
doing the thing.
The thing. Yeah. And hopefully setting a really good example for her in terms of like, goal setting and just sticking, grit, sticking with it. And, that like you can start at point A and work your way up just with a little bit of determination and hard work.
And resilience. And being able to like find something that you're passionate about and have it be a huge part of your life and like fit it in with all the other ups and downs, right?
Absolutely. But I've been able to do a lot of things with her that I wouldn't necessarily be able to do. This summer in and of itself has been a little bizarre just because of the situation in the world with COVID.
Right.
So we haven't done a whole lot of travel, but we did just get back from the Poconos.
Right.
A friend of mine who actually is now a wine guide, we took our kids to the Poconos and, I was able to pay for it without charging a single thing on a credit card. We rented a house for 5 days and, took a bunch of food, went out to eat, went shopping at the outlets, and it didn't stress me out. And I wasn't charging on a credit card because, I have a little bit of flexibility now financially.
I think it's one of those things that we say that Traveling Vineyard is a great way to earn some modest supplemental income.
Yeah.
And I think that when we say that, it like sounds small, but the effects of modest supplemental income are huge in a family, right? So you talk about the difference that $400 a month can make. And that's the kind of modest supplemental income that a Traveling Vineyard business can provide. And I mean, shopping at the outlets and not worrying about it, that's a dream, right? Like saying sort of like back to school shopping that's like whatever you want without, I've heard stories about sweatshirts, right? Like I was able to buy my kid this sweatshirt and it was like the one from the store and like it wasn't our normal budget, but it wasn't a problem. So yeah.
I bought myself my first Coach bag this week.
Oh, girl, I wish you had that to show off. You haven't gotten one through Thrive yet?
Well, no, I tried. But after the trip, my coins, I didn't quite have enough.
So okay. Well, but you did earn the Lux Getaway.
Yes.
Second year. So you earned it last year. And so you got a trip to Costa. You earned, let me be very clear, that is earned from hard work only. So that you earned that trip to Costa Rica. How was that? Was that everything you'd sort of dreamed it would be? Or it was
and then some, right? It was amazing. Yeah. It was amazing. It was fun. It was awesome to build relationships with people and just really feel, like we get together and harvest, for harvest, and that's also amazing. But you've got an agenda, you've got workshops to attend and stuff like that. So it was really nice to just be able to hang out with no agenda and get to know people who are like-minded and, have a good time and just really not have to worry about anything.
Awesome. Yeah. It's really fun. And if travel is I think we're all sort of in this world where we don't get to travel right now, which is breaking some of our hearts. But if travel is one of the things that you find as a passion, there are so many opportunities, whether it's within your wine guide bubble or earning the Lux Getaway or coming to harvest when we're able to have in-person harvest. Travel is definitely something you can add to your list.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So I was able to take Ella to Disney World last year.
Cool.
Yeah, and I did a trip with her and my mom that I was able to take them on the year before to go to a destination wedding. But additionally, she's in vocal lessons at a music school locally, and I was able to pay for that and not have to worry about it. Sending her I didn't do it this summer, but sending her to camps like theater camps and things like that without really feeling stressed. Those are some of the things that we've been able to do, and I just think that, her seeing me build a business is just healthy. Yeah. Especially since it's just the two of us, right? Like we're almost like sisters.
Yeah. It's a great model, right? So you're able to you can show her not only like what it looks like to have a career of being a teacher, but also what it looks like to build something on the side that's just for you and starts as a passion and ends up being something more. So Absolutely. Really cool. Okay, so let's talk about some of the fun stuff though. Tell me about how much you knew about wine before Traveling Vineyard and how much you know about wine now.
And I say this at my events all the time. I knew that I liked to drink it when I started, and that was about it.
Yep.
Yeah.
I knew that red was red and that white was white and that was it. That was all I knew when I started. And have you like found a passion for it? Is the passion more for the business, or have you broadened your horizons? What's your favorite wine right now?
Oh, I know. I was like, I have to pick one. I've learned, I have developed a passion for food and wine pairing. Just because, when and I say this at my tastings too, I would go to the store and buy like a mid-level Merlot and it would taste fine. But sometimes, I would drink it by itself. Other times I would drink it with food and, think this must have gone bad. And it was because I knew absolutely nothing about food and wine pairing. So it is fun to be able to, kind of like plan meals and social events and have a little bit of knowledge about what pairs, when us wine guides get together, it's like game on with that. It's so much fun.
Try this. And then the charcuterie board just grows and grows and grows and grows. And then the next time you look down, you're like, okay, so now we have 4 bottles of wine open. We only have like 3 tastes out of each of them, but I can't find, like, it's so funny. I love watching that.
Yeah.
Someone asked, and this is a great question. Someone says the wine is the easy part. Is it hard to run the business part? So we can definitely talk about that for a minute or so. One of the things that when you were thinking about becoming a wine guide, what were the things about the business side of it that you were nervous about? And did any of those come to fruition, or did you find that it's been pretty simple? Because easy and simple are 2 different things, right? It's definitely, it's a business, so it takes work, but it's pretty simple overall.
Absolutely. In the beginning, I was worried about not having enough time, but then I made a decision down the road and, in terms of creating more space that way. Because I found a passion for the business.
Right.
I definitely would not say it's hard. It takes consistency and it takes effort. I think everyone, and I think it takes getting through like the low months of feeling discouraged, because that's in any business. Every month is not going to be amazing. It's the not giving up part, so you can get to the next amazing part.
Definitely.
So it's definitely not hard. It takes effort, but I think it is simple when you look at the fact that the company and your teams are going to provide you with resources that are duplicatable.
Yep.
And I think giving it time, right? Like, so during COVID, I had 4 of my best months, but that's because I have 3.5 years worth of customers who have come to know me and realize that it's not just another phase, and I didn't just do this on a whim and next week I'll be selling something else. They know me as their wine guide. And so they were happy to support when they, and they wanted the product. They love the product. The product speaks for itself too.
Yeah. And I think some of the things that I think about when I think about if the business is simple, right? We take care of all of the product for you. You never need to source product. We take care of all the shipping for you. You never get product yourself and then have to ship it out to someone else. So there's not trips to UPS or USPS. We take care of all the banking for you. So you don't necessarily have to do any of the any of the paperwork, really. You just use our system, you put in the orders, you take a credit card payment, and then it gets submitted, and then we take care of everything after that. We manage the inventory. You guys know what's available and what's not, and then you guys don't have to do any of the inventory management. If a product that you have, if you sell a product super, super well, you don't have to buy more of it to then be able to sell it. And then say you get a tasting with someone who likes something completely different, you're not stuck with all of this extra stuff. Absolutely. So some of those pieces of the business, we try and make as simple as possible, because we know that our wine guides are here to market wine. They're here to run tasting events, whether they're virtually or in person. It's just fun. It really is. Yeah.
And I guess I take for granted all the stuff that you guys do.
Which is fine. And
it makes it really simple.
You are supposed to just live in this world where wine guides, new wines come in and you market them to customers and you do your fun customer service and you get to do the people side of it and the tasting side of it. And we take care of the rest for you like magic. It's pay no attention to the people behind the curtain, because you guys that are in front of the curtain are what's important. And at least that's my take on it. So
yeah, no, it's been great.
Awesome. And then before, I don't want to keep you for too long because now we've been talking for 25 minutes already and it feels like we just started. But my last question that I want to talk about is what you're what you're doing for your tastings right now, because I know that in all sorts of different parts of the country, the situation's different.
Yeah.
Some of our wine guides are doing virtual tastings. Some of our wine guides are doing in-home tastings. What does your business look like today? And what are you looking at going forward?
So right now I'm doing outdoor in-home tastings with, disposable stemware, things like that. But I'm also still kind of trying to push online events.
Yep.
Because that was so successful. And I feel like if it can be that successful, might as well just kind of stay with the times, especially in case we have to go back to discontinuing in-home tastings again at some point.
Yep.
After I picked Keisha's brain, I did a battle of the hosts in June, and she was like, yeah, I think I'll do them quarterly. So I'm like looking ahead, like, all right, September will probably be a really crazy month for me as a teacher. So that would be a great month to do another battle of the hosts,
Right.
So keep it online.
Work smarter, not harder.
Right. And then I was thinking again, like another quarter would be around Christmas time when sometimes it can be hard to schedule because people have so much going on, but they need the product.
Yep.
So, working smarter, not harder for sure. So I am trying to keep a portion of my business online. What was great about doing online events is like in April, I think I did like 11 online events. In real life, I could probably never spread myself that thin.
Right.
But since, you can be posting in multiple events, at this all in one day. So you can be running them multiple at a time. And then I did pivot to doing some Zoom tastings for a period. Cool. I did about 5 of those before Pennsylvania kind of reopened.
Yeah.
And that's just my preference to be doing them outside right now. I feel like, that way whoever comes with whatever their comfort level is with being around people right now, it gives them more of an opportunity to stay, safe for whatever that means for them.
Yeah. And I think we're at this point where we need that human interaction, but we need that human interaction in the safest way possible. So it covers both of those, checks both those boxes, right? Like I'm getting to see people, I'm in person. I have to, change out of my yoga pants, maybe. Also, like you don't really have to change out of your yoga pants.
No, you have no idea what pants I'm wearing right now.
I'm actually, this is a dress today, but I am definitely still wearing my sneakers. Like there's no way I'm comfortable shoes. We are wearing sneakers for the rest of my days.
That's funny.
All right. So I guess my last question that I ask to everybody when we're on a Wine Guide Stories Live is if you had a piece of advice for you that was like on your drive home before you actually, when you were on your way home from your aunt's and then you were like, oh, I can't go to the tasting, but it kept going in your mind and going in your mind. What's your piece of advice for you before you actually started, or for someone that is watching this and saying, maybe, but like, maybe not, but maybe, but the person that like keeps thinking about it and can't get it out of their head?
To just do it. Yeah. To do it. Because the only thing that waiting is going to do is make you wish that you'd gotten started sooner.
Yep.
Yeah.
I couldn't agree more, Morgan. And I think we see that all the time. You could probably ask almost any wine guide, and that would be their piece of advice: is just try it out. If it's a reasonable amount of investment, anywhere from $49 for our virtual wine guides, all the way up to $179 for our full wine guide success kit with carrying case and glasses and all of the wine you could really ever need. So at the end of the day, what are you waiting for? Come, hop on board, hang out with me and Morgan. We're a good time. I think we're a good time.
We are totally a good time.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you so much for spending a little bit of time with me today, Morgan. This was so fun. And if you guys are wondering how to get started, first and foremost, if someone invited you to this webinar, or if you know a wine guide, that is your first, stop. So you want to go back to the person that either invited you to watch this or that you've been to a tasting with and say, hey, I saw this Facebook Live and I'd really like to know more about becoming a wine guide. But if you haven't been in touch with a wine guide, if you just came across us randomly, you can go, there's a button on the Facebook page. It's big and blue, and it probably says learn more, but it also might say shop now. Either one of those buttons will get you in touch with our cheerleaders at World Headquarters, which will allow you to send in your information so we can connect you with one of our lead qualified wine guides, which means they know more about the business than I do, that's for sure. And they'll get in touch with you, and you guys can talk about your concerns, your questions, questions and get you started. So either go back to the person that invited you or send us a note at World Headquarters and we will get you in touch with someone ASAP. So thanks again, Morgan. I hope you have an awesome afternoon. It's Friday. I just made some peach sangria with we actually had two, I'm going to disappear. We had 2 wine releases today, including our brand new Pajama Drama, which is great. It's a Malvasia Bianca, which is like a sweeter white wine. And I just made some peach sangria with that. So that sounds really good. We just launched a Lazy Lab, our very first organic Cabernet Sauvignon, our very first organic wine. So that's available. So get those in your glass, and hopefully we'll see you at outdoor tasting or at a virtual tasting real soon. All right, Morgan, have a nice day. Talk to you all soon.
Thank you.